Hello guys, welcome to the second lecture. Now if you're watching this, I believe that you have watched the first one. Okay, so here we're going to continue with mastering VID questions. Now on the last video we ended, we're talking about the color of the private vehicle registration plate, and I believe that you have watched that one. Now here I want us to talk about the animal drawn wagons. So animal drawn wagons is what we call ngoroye madonge, ngoroye mombe. Okay, so what you do when you see these animal drawn wagons is that you slow down and pass on whichever side is safe to do so. So whether it is from the left or from the right, whatever side seems safe for you to do so. So whatever side seems safe for you to overtake these animal drawn wagons is what side you're gonna use. Okay, it must have a reins and a leader. And the leader is someone who stands in front of these animals so that they can actually guide them and they actually follow this leader. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. Vehicle pre-driving checks include checking rearview mirrors are properly adjusted. Vehicle pre-driving checks, these are things that you do before you drive. Okay, vehicle pre-driving checks include checking rearview mirrors are properly adjusted. So just note this one because this one is the most asked pre-driving checks that is there. Okay, so each time the question is saying vehicle pre-driving checks include, just know that they are looking for checking your rearview mirrors are properly adjusted. Now here is the rearview mirrors that you need to check, right? Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. Here we'll talk about our pedals, right? So we have the clutch. The clutch is the one that is operated by the left foot. The brakes and the gas or the accelerator, they are operated by the right foot. So the clutch is used to avoid noise when changing gears. So if you change gears without depressing on the clutch, you get that noise, right? So you press the clutch to disengage gears. So write these things down. The clutch disengage gears so that you can easily change the gear. So you also have the manual gear shift or the gear lever or whatever you want to call it, right? Then we also have the accelerator, the one that is titled gas here. So this one is used to increase vehicle speed. Then also have the brakes. The brakes are used to decrease vehicle speed. Okay, the general rule for passengers disembarking from a bus is, so what is that general rule? These are passengers that are getting off a bus. So what they should do is they should wait until the bus takes off, then they can cross the road. So they should not cross the road whilst the bus is still stopping. Okay, so they should wait until the bus takes off from its stationary position or from its parking place, then they can now cross the road. That's the general rule. Diverging lanes mean one lane becoming two. So as you can see here, this is a diverging lanes. So this is a lane here that is breaking off into two lanes. So that's what we mean when we say diverging. Now what about converging? Converging lanes now means two lanes becoming one. So here we can see that this lane and this lane, they are becoming one. So a question may come and say, which car is the right of way between A and B? You can see both of them wants to occupy this portion of the road. So is it A or B? Well, I submit to you that it is B. Why? Because B is not changing lane. B is maintaining its lane. So it is the one that has the right of way. While it's the car that is changing lane is the one that should give the right of way. Okay, so just know that the car that is changing lane is the car that should give the right of way. Cool. Let's look at driving school vehicle. This is class 4, right? So it should have the following documents. First of all, it should have a certificate of fitness. It should be certified that this car is fit and this car is roadworthy, right? Then it should also have comprehensive vehicle insurance. Each time you see it on the road is under a driving school student, right? Someone who's learning to drive. So it should have vehicle insurance in case it hits something or hits somebody. Okay. Warning reflective T-plate signs are fitted on a towed trailer. So the warning reflective T-plate means trailer, right? Let's move on to the next one. Driving instructors are exempted from wearing a seatbelt. So driving instructors are also exempted from wearing a seatbelt. Just know this point, right? Driving instructors are exempted from wearing a seatbelt. During heavy weather, make sure a vehicle is fitted with good tires. Because if the tires don't have enough good treads, they will not have good enough traction on the road. So that can mean that less friction between the surface of the road and the tires. The water is also reducing friction by a lot. So you need to make sure that in heavy, strong, rainy weather, the vehicle tires are in good shape. because they'll actually be hoping to disperse the water and increase the friction between the surface of the road and the tires. The purpose of the parking brake is to keep the vehicle stationary. So this is the parking brake or the hand brake. This one is different from the brake that we see that is operated by the left pedal, the one that you just talked about, okay? So this one is operated by the left hand, okay? So this one right now is not used to stop the vehicle. Now you have students that you have actually said that this one is used to stop the vehicle. Actually no, that one is used to keep the vehicle stationary. You engage the hand brake when your vehicle has come to a full stop. You come to a full stop by using your foot brakes. Then you engage that hand brake to keep the vehicle stationary. Okay, so that one is only used to keep the vehicle stationary when the car has come to a full stop. At a railway crossing with boom gates open, so these are boom gates, you see these red and white strips here, so these are what we call boom gates. So the driver should stop, look both sides and cross when safe. Okay, so at a railway level crossing with open boom gates, the driver should stop, look both sides and cross when safe. So here are the boom gates, this one with white and red stripes here. So if the boom gates are open like this, it means that the drivers are free to cross. Okay, so that's the motorists there, they are free to cross. So if the boom gates are closed, it means that the train is probably coming, so that's why the boom gates are closed and the driver should not attempt to cross. So when approaching a narrow bridge, I must pay close attention to width restrictions. So here's a narrow bridge, right, with a sign titled narrow bridge. Okay, so if you see a narrow bridge, it means that you should pay close attention to width restriction, because the narrow is always accompanied with width. Each time we talk about narrow, we are also talking about width, right? So when approaching a narrow bridge, I am allowed to slow down and proceed with caution. In a traffic circle, that's a roundabout, I indicate when you're going out. So a question may say, when do you indicate a roundabout? Is it when you're going in or going out? So I want to submit to you is when going out. Why? Because every person that is entering that roundabout is indicating the same way. Every car that is going into that roundabout will turn left to enter that roundabout, right? It will turn left. So there's no car that will be against the flow of traffic when it turns right. Each time you turn right into the roundabout, you're against the flow of traffic. Therefore, you're in violation of the road rules. Okay? So indicate when you're going out to indicate to other driver that you're taking the next exit, right? Not the one that is after that. Okay? Now let's look at this car here, right? This car, if this car wants to take this exit, it will indicate right about at this point, so that this car behind it would note that this car is taking the next exit and not this exit here. So you indicate when you are going out to tell the other driver that no, I'm taking the next exit, right? So that they can actually accommodate for your going out. They can actually reduce speed, and you can actually reduce speed also. A blind spot. Now let's talk about a blind spot. A blind spot in a road is a part of the road not covered by the rearview mirrors. A blind spot is the area of the road which cannot be seen by looking towards your windscreen or by the rearview mirrors or side road. Now do make sure that you write these things down. A blind spot is simply a portion of the road that you cannot see by rearview mirrors. Now let's look at this big track here. All this red portion is what is called a blind spot. So do make sure that you know a blind spot of a track and you keep away from those blind spots. Okay, now obviously the driver cannot see behind the vehicle due to this big trailer here. Okay, so also driver cannot see along this line because this portion is not covered by the rearview mirrors. This portion is, so the driver in this truck can see this car, but he cannot see this car. So this car is at a potential of being squashed by this big truck when this big truck tries to change lane, because this driver cannot see him. Now let's look at a small car. All these green areas, what is seen by the driver, this driver can see all this by the rearview mirrors, right? But the driver cannot see here. So if you are driving, you need to make sure that you don't spend much time in another driver's blind spot, because that driver will not be able to see you. So the only way to see a blind spot is if the driver can actually look out the window like that, so that they can actually be able to see the other car, because that portion is not coming out on the front windscreen, is also not coming out on the rear view mirrors, it's also not coming out on the mirror that is on the center console. Okay, now abnormal load vehicles must have an escort. What is an escort? Escort is these vehicles, this small one right here, with its red flags and a sign titled abnormal vehicles. Now these vehicles go in front of the vehicle and the back of the vehicle, right, to tell other vehicles that the vehicle that is coming is probably going to occupy most of the road, so they should just pull off the road, stop, and let the vehicle pass. So these vehicles are very necessary. So abnormal load vehicles must have escort. So this is an abnormal load vehicle because it is carrying something that will require it to use most of the road. So this abnormal load vehicle will require to use more than one lane. So that's an abnormal load vehicle, right? So it must have escort. Now let's talk about using a cell phone while driving. A cell phone must not be used during driving, as you have heard the saying, do not text and drive. Now here are what we call with restriction sign. 10T means 10 tons, 5T means 5 tons. So if you see the sign and your vehicle weighs more than 10 tons net mass, it means that you are not allowed beyond this sign. So guys, that's it. We have come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know in the WhatsApp number. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.